Hi everyone, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So let's begin with our, how do you say, penultimate? Almost the last day of Aries. Um, so today I was, as I wrote about the ideas and how they are links and networks. Well, today I don't think that I have all my neurons very well aligned. So let's go to the topic of birthing, which is our topic for today. So I don't remember exactly in which month, but I know that we spoke about birth. So the actual idea of being born. So if you want to know more about that detail, you can go and check in the list of the where is the concept of being born that we spoke about, birth. But today we are going to talk about birthing, which is the tool of being birthed and how we come to that. So before we begin, let's go through the circle of the four things that we have gone through this week. So let's locate ourselves in the concepts. So sorry, I was just talking about, I don't know how YouTubers does these perfect videos. I have one of those lights there, but when I show something, you see the reflection, and I'm dark, and I don't know. I'm a mess. This is a terrible. Uh, so no good quality. Sorry. Um, so the first thing, the first day that we had from this week was initiation. So initiation was the beginning of this concept that we are speaking here. Then we have 4 days in which we spoke about this cycle, and then we have the last day that we are speaking about this cycle, wrapping it today. So remember, the first thing in the universe is the expression. When something is released from the pressure of being in one spot, and it starts to expand away. So from the expression, we reach experimentation, which is to live, to experience all the things that were expressed. So once we have the experimentation, we live the experimentation, is like all the path going in every direction. So eventually they all had to come together again to make something that overcomes the first option. So they all get together to create a new idea of itself. This is the third step, integration. And once I have integrated all that I have experienced that was expressed, then I have to go farther. I have to move forward, which means that everything that I integrated, I had to leave it for the others because it's something useful for the next ones. And me, myself, has to transcend into the next level of consciousness to take another turn. So this is why transcendence takes me again to expression. So this is because once I integrated something that was before, I had to transcend it. So I give it away as a tool for the other ones, and I express myself in the next level of consciousness, going farther in this spiral of creation, moving ahead. So this is how we get the cycle of the universe, which are the fundaments of the universe. Every living being, we do this. So once this here is concepts, I'm speaking about concepts. So what I will find in the next days that we have is the other cycle, the cycle that is in the physical way, in the matter that we can relate to. So in the physical way, our reality, expression will be called be born. Experimentation will be called to grow. Integration will be called to reproduce. And transcendence will be called to die or to perish. So this is in the physical way, how we can understand these concepts in the physical way. So every living being or every being in the reality goes through this process. So as I said, we can, for example, tell a star also born, a star also is born, a star also grows, a star also reproduces in planets, and a star also dies. Oh, so this here is just the physical aspect of this here. So just as a little summary, expression is to release the pressure of something. Experimentation is the process of prove, test the things that were under pressure before. Integration is to create a tissue with this that we can touch, something that we can put together. And transcend is to go into the next side, to be beyond. Okay? So to be born, the concept of being born comes from to take care. Actually, the concept of being born. But we are not going to take that concept. We're taking the concept of natality or nativity. Yes, that's the same origin. That means to give light, to give light, which is to give birth, actually in English. But the meaning is to give light, which means that something comes out to light. So we are not being born only when we can come out of our mother. To be born is actually a process in which you bring clarity to a new path, that you are beginning new, that now you can see. Okay? So after this, when we see the light, we go to grow. And growing up is not something that you just do when you're a child or a teenager. It's something that you do constantly throughout your life. Because to grow up means also create. Remember, it's about growing plants, about doing a process of something. So that's the of growing up. It's like the cultives, the fields. It's all a cycle, never ending. And then from that thing that I was growing, that I was producing, I arrived to reproduction. What is reproduction? Is to reproduce those things that I have been creating while I was growing. And this is reproduction because this is production. I am producing, I am creating as I am growing up. So reproduction, what it means to make that the things I have produced are able for many. So I expand what I have inside and I share it with others. In which way? I can reproduce biologically, having a kid. I can reproduce by emotions, doing stuff. I can reproduce by mind, creating a philosophy, an idea. Whatever I have within that I created for myself, I reproduce outside as a project, as an idea, as an emotion, whatever. But I am reproducing that concept. So once I reproduce what I have within, I am ready to die. Why? Because before, I was holding all the information that I had within, all the data that I had in me. It was inside. And when I reproduce and gave that energy into the world, to the others, I share it with others. When I did that, it means that my biology understands that my information has been passed away. So I can go through death. I can release myself from the responsibility of having that information, because now it's not only me who has that information. So I am ready to transform myself, to die, so I can go into the next level, be born again, and do an experience in another level of consciousness. So, as you see here, being born is kind of the first concept. So this means that being born is the moment in which the idea becomes matter. So it's the process of manifestation of something that before was an idea, an imagination. So we are going to talk about birthing from the point of view of manifestation. So birthing is equal to manifest the idea. So first of all, before we start to speak about the idea, remember that the idea comes from the mind, and we have spoken about the mind, the universe. We have spoken about mentalism, about consciousness, and many things in other moments. So when we spoke about that, we usually make the mistake of thinking that in order for a mind to exist, there should be someone thinking. Because in our point of view as humans, we in our point of view of humans, we are we think our mind, our ideas are inside our heads. We kind of believe that in order for an idea to exist, for a mind to exist, someone, a person, a who must exist. This is why we project in the universe the idea of someone that is thinking, because it cannot be just mind. It needs someone that thinks with the mind. But that's just a point of view from a human perspective. That's not the reality in the universe. It's not that someone is thinking in the universe. It's only mind. So when we say that in the universe there is the first law of everything is mentalism, we used to say the universe is mind. And I want to pay attention to this sentence. The universe is mind. We are not saying the universe is thinking or the universe has a mind. Okay. So mind is itself the universe. There is not anyone or someone that has the mind. So important to understand that sentence very much. So it's important to understand this concept about to make the mind without humanity, to take all the humanity out of the idea of mind, to take away the concept of the mind being someone, because when we see it from the point of view of a human, we will always come back to the idea of believing that there should be someone thinking, so we create a god, the image of a god, of someone that is from the outside, someone that is observing us, and by thinking, it's creating a plan for us. So that personification of the mind, we create a god. But that's a humanization of the idea. So the reality is not that someone exists to think. Actually, the idea is I think, therefore I exist. Okay? So the question here for us would be, what is mind? Not who is thinking or who has mind inside. The concept here is what is mind. So remember, what is mind? Mind is one package of information that projects into the outside, creating the positive and the negative. The positive and the negative. And this other one divides itself again into other two, that projects into other two. And like this, towards eternity. So what is the mind? It's a network of data in formation. In the same way as humans, we have within a network of neurons that exchange data information through electrical pulses that are constantly in formation. What is the universe? The universe is information. What is the mind? A network of data. So when this mind becomes aware of itself, when is the origin of consciousness? Consciousness begins in the moment when the system of nets reaches the end and they touch the edges of one another, creating a pattern of limitation that is self-referred to itself. Self-referred. Consciousness is information that is self-referred. So now, what we have here is that when this system starts to close up, it starts to create a network of systems that we call subconscious. The subconscious is this network that goes under the entire matrix of network. Then the flow of energy that moves through the subconscious is what we call the unconscious. And when we wrap the entire structure in 3D with depth, acknowledging the shape of the entire structure, is what we call consciousness. Okay. So as we see here, it's not someone contains the universal mind. It's the mind itself that contains the universe. So as you see here, this is kind of a technology. This is data. The mind is data. It's not referred to anyone. We have to get rid of the idea that the mind is someone that is thinking. The mind is basically data that is exchanging information all the time. Eventually, that data starts to find logics in the connection of the information. It gets logics and starts to think. So it manifests as consciousness. So with this explanation, basically we can say, like Nietzsche would say, God has died. But now let's explain about God. Negative and positive, they connect each other through vibration. So positive and negative creates a wave of vibration. But when a third one appears, the irregularities starts to create what we call a high vibration, medium vibration, and a low vibration. So now, when we have this high, medium, and low vibration moving fast, creating different types of vibration, it makes that the positive and the negative creates other options, new options. So they start to create the patterns of vibration all over, creating structures. So all these structures create so much vibration condensed in one only place that it creates energy. The energy is the one that will generate what we call divinity. For those who are asking from where the third dot appears, I just explained it before. From the division. So remember, divinity comes from the idea, the Indo-European language, which is Jeu. Jeu means daylight. Daylight. I explained this a while ago. Daylight. So daylight would be the energy of the day, because for us, the living beings, we need the light of sun in order to live, to first to be alive, of course. So we relate the life, the creation, with the light of the sun, which is the sun itself, from where we take energy to live. Okay, so Jeu. This is the origin of the concept of God. God, divine, comes from the idea of something that has light, that gives us energy. So the energy is the spark that we have been thinking about every one of these days. We spoke about this divine spark here. This divine spark emerges from the conjunction of all the vibrations together that creates the spark, the energy. That's the divine spark. And we call that divine spark because it gives light. So what reminds you to give light? This gives the light, the spark. So what does remind you to give light? Light is birth. So now you can see that the network of information, the network of data, gets together in vibrations to give light with the divine spark that creates energy. And that energy, by magnetism, generates matter, what we are. And this is why being born, birthing, is the manifestation of the idea. So where do we leave God here? The consciousness that emerges from the mind. God is not the mind or the creator of the mind. God is originated by the mind. And this is why we, here in the existence, we are done at the image of the mind, and God is made at the image of ourselves. So how can we manifest through that? Acknowledging that the idea of acknowledging that idea, sorry, what did I say in Spanish? ¿Qué dije en español? Oh, yes, I remembered. Acknowledging that every time that we take clarity in ourselves, when we activate the spark in ourselves, what we are doing is to being born again, because we are bringing consciousness to something. It's something that happens to us every time that we kind of figure out something and we say, oh my God, I'd never see this in this way. It's like everything's changing. It's like if I am being born again. For sure, we have said that sometime. So it's bringing clarity, bringing light to something. So the process of being born is not only biologically when you are born, it's also every process in which you put a light, you ignite the spark. Every time that we put clarity in these things that before had shadows. So acknowledging this, we can understand now or ask us how to manifest that idea and create something new from making something born. And the concept here would be connected to the idea in how we perceive manifestation in our reality. Because in the spiritual world, we used to say a lot, we have to manifest, we are able to manifest our own reality, but that's the discursive way of thinking. This is just a way of talking, but we don't go into the action, into the right action of how to do it. So the reason why is to manifest is because we just say about manifestation, but it's not only about thinking, it's about an alignment of the entire system. Remember, we have here the matter, and we want to do something in the matter, to manifest, to give birth to something in this reality. But the matter is made up of energy. So it comes from energy. The energy comes from vibration. Vibration comes from the link of ideas, of data, which is the idea. So this data, this idea is manifested in a network of data. The data makes energy, the vibration makes energy, and the energy makes matter. So in order to manifest, you have to have the resonance in between each one of them. The idea has to have the same level of resonance as the vibration, the same level of resonance in the energy, and the energy the same level of resonance in the matter. So that's the way in which an idea can manifest. So the way we explain many times how we can do that, which is through coherence. What is coherence? Coherence comes from co, that means together, to share, and herence, which is heritage, something that goes from one to another. So coherence would be that from one level to another, we are sharing exactly the same vibration. So through coherence, you can bring the idea into matter, which is manifestation. So in order for something to manifest, to be born and bring clarity, igniting the divine spark from the ideas here on the matter, we have to be coherent. And what it is to be coherent? To think, feel, and act in the same way. So now let's have this in mind. We have the coherence, which is vertical, and the other coherence, which is horizontal. So what it means, the vertical, that through my mind, my emotion, and my action, I am living in coherence. I'm not going to explain this coherence here because, of course, I spoke about this in other videos. So go to the videos where I speak about the mind, the coherence, the emotion, action, and you will go deeper into that. So remember that mind is vibration, emotion is energy, and action is matter. So what is this coherence here? The horizontal coherence. Horizontal coherence is to be coherent and in balance with the atoms and the environment around me. Like, for example, a very bad person can be coherent in this way. Because a person can think maybe I have to kill this person, I have to kill this person, and it's completely aligned. So it's perfect. But it doesn't have coherence with environment. So in order to find the balance between all the coherence, we have to go to the main energy of all that balances everything, that we unconditional love, which is without condition, is energy that doesn't have any condition. So this is the core of the main energy that me myself have to work with. I am the designer of this energy. Nobody else can do that for me. It's only my task to become unconditional so I can be coherent in the vertical and horizontal. So is there when I can manifest, which is born through the coherence of all this. And if I have to explain to each one of you how to be coherent, is that we have a big problem. Because each one of you would know what are the things that you have to change in your life in order to be coherent. So the task for today is to let something new to be born in yourself, a new clarity, something for the future, like something that you say, this is what I need to manifest now in my life. So just think about this new manifestation for yourself and just start to do something to happen through your coherence. And for example, today I said to myself, I want to do something for the future. I had this idea that I want to do and to come in the future. And I pictured the place where it could be. And I said, I will do everything today to manifest it, to give birth to this. So I just started to move all the things in order for it to happen. Even if it doesn't happen after, I start to move myself from my coherence of what I want to become. So I say this because usually when we start to think about the future, we start to get afraid, and I don't know if I am really good to do this, or I don't know if I have all the tools to do that, or I don't have the money to make it. Don't think about that. That's not the way in which you can manifest. You just move and start to do something. Like a kid when he's born, it's not afraid. Remember, and just the last thing, remember, if you have an idea, don't think just oh, maybe it will happen. I wish for it to happen. Or no. Do it. If you want to know something, just call somebody and ask for it. So take action in order to manifest. To manifest is to make a fest with your hands. That's the word. So do something. The vibration for today is whole. The statement for today is, I am the designer of energy. The code for today is North America. Going through Greenland Island, the energy of the heart elevated the world's voice, the word of truth, the verb, the education, and manifestation of ideas in the exterior world. The North American continent is the expressed tectonic plate of the universal laryngeal throat chakra. The Appalachian Mountains are its vocal cords. The deserts are the truth depth. The wisdom of vibration, potential in the Rocky Mountains, and the breath of life from the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. Let's go to the alignment. We close our eyes, sit comfortable, and concentrate in your breathings. I become aware of the space that surrounds me, the body that I inhabit, and my own wings. And under my feet, I contemplate the light of my body in the shape of a divine spark. And I ignite it to begin with my inner initiatic path. I ascend this divine spark to my feet. I become aware of the origin of this path in the sacred lakes of my feet, emerging up the blue and white rivers through my legs, and in them I set the intention to allow myself to be born again into a new path. I breathe and ignite my feet. I rise up the spark to my knees. And I observe the white and blue rivers connecting in my knees, unifying the feminine and masculine energies of my history. And I set intention to allow myself to be born into a new story, a new history. Take a deep breath and ignite my knees. I send this divine spark to my root chakra. I observe the sacred lake of the vital energy rising up as a kundalini in my genitals. And I set the intention to allow myself to be born into a new reality. I breathe and ignite the spark. I ascend this spark in my creative center, in the sacrum. And I recognize within me the temple of the Mother of Creation, in between the darks and the lights. And I allow myself to be born into a new creativity, a new manifestation. I breathe and ignite the sacrum. I rise up this divine spark to my plexus. As I feel inner Nile going up, I perceive inside of me the temple of the body and the attributes of the being. And I set the intention to be born all these potentials and attributes that I need for my new life. I breathe and ignite my plexus. I breathe and rise up this part of my heart. I recognize in it the temples of life and love irradiating to the world. And I set the intention to be born again into a new service through unconditional love. I breathe and ignite my heart. I ascend this divine spark to my throat. And I recognize in it the temple of the sun, irradiating its rays of truth to the world. And I set intention to be born into a new truth, into a new learning. I breathe and ignite my throat. I ascend this divine spark to my third eye. And I recognize in front of me the eyes of the Sphinx contemplating me. And I allow myself to be born into a new idea of myself and a new idea of the world. I breathe and ignite my third eye. I ascend this divine spark to my crown chakra. And I observe the Nile expanding in a beautiful delta, shining, surrounded by a crown made of pyramids. And I set the intention to allow myself to be born into my own divinity. I take a deep breath and ignite my crown. I recognize that this initiatic path within me allow me to affect a new energy in me that allows me to manifest a new reality. And I set the intention to be born in that new reality. I am the designer of my energy. I am the designer of my energy. I am the designer of my energy. I am. I am. I am. Take a deep breath and start to bring this consciousness all around your body, stretching, massaging, caressing, and each one at its own time. Come back here. Thank you everybody for being here. As always, another day, and see you tomorrow at the same time.